Today's podcast was recorded at the 2022 Green Industry Hype House in Tampa, Florida. This year's Hype House is sponsored by the Hardscape Academy and the Lawntrepreneur Academy. Caleb and Brittany Allman invite you to visit the hardscapeacademy.com, where you'll find on-demand video courses and workshops. It's educational training to help you optimize your time, resources, and make more money. LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com, started by Brian and Liz Fullerton, is dedicated to giving lawn care professionals all of the content and resources needed to reach more customers, grow your business, and be more successful. Enjoy today's podcast, and remember to check out both the Hardscape Academy and the LawnTrepreneur Academy.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here, hanging with you guys. And today we are doing a fun guest interview. We got none other than the man, John Pajak, joining us live from the Green Industry Hype House. John, how's it going, brother?
Hey, Brian. It's great to see you, man.
It's good to see you. We've actually been having a fun morning upstairs. We've been doing a couple podcasts with some other folks, Caleb Allman and the Allmans up there. We're just kind of hanging out, having fun, cutting up this morning. We're actually on like day 4 or 5 over here at the 2022 Green Industry Hype House, which is just a collaborative effort of a bunch of green industry professionals. Nobody here's an influencer or a guru or anything like that. We're just hanging out, having a great time. A bunch of great professionals that have just a lot of passion for the industry. But you know what? There are bills to pay. So the Hype House was actually self-funded this year by the Hardscape Academy and Lawntrepreneur Academy. So if you guys need some great resources to learn how to do brick pavers, retaining walls, contracts, check out the Hardscape Academy. And if you guys are mowing grass and cutting that grass and making that cash, I think is what Paul Jameson says. Go over to LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. We've got some great postcard designs. We've got lawn care contracts. We've got training resources, a bunch of material that can help you guys grow a successful lawn care business. So big shout out to those guys, and thank you for sponsoring the house. This is the kind of opportunities that come full circle. You know, in person, we get to link up with other great green industry pros, and we got John Pajak on the line with us here. So John, I think we've done 1 or 2 episodes. I know you've been on the show before, right? But the show's growing, a bunch of new people listening in. We call it the highlight reel. Maybe you want to get a 2-minute update about who you are, where you're from, what you got going on today, and we'll kind of dive into it.
Yeah, John Pajak. I'm from Cherville, Indiana. I'm the owner and operator of Turf Tamer Lawn Care, which is a chemical fertilization application business.
Yep.
And also John Pajak Financial Coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
We help business owners build budgets so they could have profitable price points for their services.
Okay. Here, bring that in just a little bit here. There you go. You got a big dome.
I do. My face is wider. But you know,
these things don't extend out, so you get like the same 5 inches. You know, on the little microphone thing here. Yeah. No, that looks great.
Am I better now?
That sounds a lot better. You're a soft talker anyway.
Do I look like I'm cool now with the headgear?
You look like the FAA radio control.
I wanted to be that guy. No.
29 you are clear for takeoff. All engines check good.
Please drop to 3,000.
There you go. There you go. Well, I'm really excited about having you on the show, man. First off, it's always a good time just to catch up with you in person. Yeah. You're a super nice guy, super fun, very upbeat, always a great attitude. You are the anything over 2 hours, listen, I joke, it's always the side hug. Mm-hmm. Just when you meet people, you are the full frontal hug guy.
Oh, I'm full frontal. Yeah, you cannot. If you're gonna hug me, come in, and we're not gonna it's both arms wrapped around, embraced.
Yes,
because you need to feel the love. Did you know this is a total trivia fact? But hugs are most effective when they're held for 20 seconds or more.
Is that right?
There's a psychological and emotional feel. Yeah, it's not like, oh, let's hug each other. But really, if I hug you, and I hold you for 20 seconds,
sure,
you release and you
just let it go.
It's just let it go, and then you actually start to feel better.
And then you can hold me for 3 more minutes and cradle me.
Exactly.
And then I'll probably fall asleep.
Think about a baby, you know.
That's what I was just going to say.
It has a calming effect.
Well, I do feel calm every time you give me a big, giant hug. A big bear hug. It feels good. And I'm like, I'm the not touch me guy, you know, which is really funny, but I know you're going to do it anyway. So I'm like, here we go. And I just let John do the big hug. And then, like you said, after about 7 or 8 seconds, because you haven't let go yet, I'm like, we're going to be here a minute. So I'm just going to let it go. And it feels nice.
So, and I used to do it as a joke just to make people feel uncomfortable, even though I was providing comfort.
Yeah.
But a very good friend of mine was the one that gave me that trivial
little
factoid. And I was like, I'll use that from now on.
The only thing I think that's super awkward if you do for 20 seconds is like the handshake when somebody won't let go.
Yeah,
that's like the weird one.
But that's the dominance. That person that won't let go, they're trying to establish dominance.
Yes.
Because if you ever notice, they may also have their palm slightly, so that your palm has to face a certain direction. So that's their way of controlling and
the two handshake, right? Where they shake the hands and they grab your whole hand and the fist. You know, I'm like, okay, cool, I get it, bud. You're in control. Yeah. Rock and roll.
It's like I've captured you. You're mine.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we won't talk, I think, all about body language today on this podcast, which could be a good podcast episode. We're already learning some fun things. But for folks that look, to go back to the highlight reel, I think we got sidetracked. But you're over in Indiana.
I'm in Northwest Indiana. We're between Chicago and Gary, Indiana. So if anybody wants to ever pull out a map and pull out, ballistic armor.
Yeah.
You can come and visit me, and it's okay.
Okay.
It's not that bad. But.
I've been through Gary. That sketch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but there's really nice pockets of Indiana too. A lot of folks listen in from Indiana. Definitely in the Midwest, because when the podcast or the YouTube channel get recommended, the algorithms know to like one of their main criteria is like regionally. Right. So a lot of folks regionally and locally. So I have a heavy listenership or viewership from both of our content platforms in the Midwest. They get serviced a lot to the folks in Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. So a lot of folks over in Indiana. Shout out to Indiana on this podcast. So you've been doing lawn care treatments, fertilizing, which is lawn care treatments, lawn maintenance, I should say. A little bit of everything. What's your bread and butter right now? What do you got going on?
Mostly it's just the application. So fertilization, weed control, we've phased out mowing. We do have a couple legacy accounts that we still take care of.
Okay.
They've been with us. They've been very loyal, and they're like, we just really love you, and we want you to stick around. That's why. But really that, turf tamer lawn care is ramping up in that direction, and it's the surprise for me is the John Pajak financial coaching,
right?
Where the most popular workshop I have is the budgets, break evens, and bottom lines workshop, which, like I was describing, building a budget, help you define what your prices are so you can be profitable.
Yep.
And
it's going really well.
Yeah, it's going well.
Well, let me ask you this. First off, I got a little side tangent here. The name Turf Tamer Lawn Care. Where did you come up with that?
My wife thought I was trying to figure out a name a long time ago.
Yeah.
And she was just
it's different. I like it.
She was like, oh, that. But the problem I have, and I know I should have researched it more.
Okay.
Turns out one of the national brands uses that as a registered name for their equipment.
Oh.
They have like this power seating equipment.
Okay.
And after I formed all the, had all my paperwork done and everything was being submitted. I had already gotten my approval from the Secretary of the State and everything. I'm driving down the street and all of a sudden I see, it's Lawn Doctor.
Oh, okay.
Lawn Doctor's driving and they're towing a trailer that has, it looks like, calligraphy almost, like Turf Tamer Power Seater or something. And I'm like,
son of a...
Oh my God. I should have known this. They're a national company. It's not like some rinky-dink thing.
Yeah.
So I contacted my attorney at the time and I said, is this going to mess me up? And because of the way I filed everything and with the state of Indiana, they were like, yeah, you're totally fine.
Okay.
And we were able to do business using that name, so we're good. And it turns out within the state, I'm not like the only one.
Yeah.
I once I started researching again, there's a couple others, and there's like pockets of that name throughout the country. So
it's not uncommon to. It doesn't matter how many times you Google it and search it, and like you said, website first and the Facebook page first.
Right.
Somebody's probably already thought the name. That's fine. But every state is different, like you said.
Exactly.
If it's like elite landscaping. You might have another guy that gets by with elite lawn care. Mm-hmm. And then there's another guy that has elite lawn and landscaping.
Exactly.
And then there's elite lawn and landscape, right? Like, and then there's elite lawn and landscapes with an S, and you're like
Z's.
Or Z, yeah.
There's like turf tamers with Z's.
Or they have like I's instead of like U's or O's or E, like they take, and that's fine, So, and by the way, so if you guys have ever roadblocked that was my story. I went to go register Brian's lawn care, and they're like, that's taken. So I had to do Brian's lawn maintenance. Mm-hmm. So it happens more than you think. So that was a side tangent with the name, because I don't think I've ever heard the origin story to that.
Gotcha.
One other quick one. What's the origin story of you getting into lawn care and fertilizing in general? Like, how did you start your business? Because I don't know if I even asked you like the most basic question like last time when you were on the podcast. How did you get started in the green industry?
That's a long story, man. That's like over 20 years ago.
Give us the 2 minutes abridged version.
Here's a real ramp down, right? When I was way younger, I had multiple jobs because I was just trying to do everything.
Okay.
I got into mowing lawns, not for myself. I worked for another company. They quickly just gave me a truck and I took over a crew.
Yeah.
I was running a crew for a few years, and at the same time, I was like, this is pretty easy, right?
Sure.
Anybody can do this. And then I started my own side hustle. Mm-hmm. While I was still working for that company, I had worked out a deal where I purchased some of the old equipment from the owner.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he was just an amazing person.
Okay.
To where he was like, he didn't look at me as true competition. He was a nurturer in a way.
I like that.
So that kind of failed. Mm-hmm. It didn't just fail. Like, I was getting by. I was a single guy, and I didn't do things right.
20, 25, 20?
I think I was 22, I think.
Okay. This is like 2000?
Late 90s.
No kidding.
Like that, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
But anyway, we're...
How old are you right now, by the way?
44.
44?
Yeah.
I don't think he was 44.
Thanks.
I thought like 38, 39 tops.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like 60 or something.
No, dude, not at all. You're looking pretty good for 44. Yeah. Keep it going, man.
I don't even know what a 35-year-old looks like anymore.
I'm 35, bro.
Okay.
Can you believe it? Like, I literally feel like B&B's right here, fidgeting with his podcast board, making all that noise in the background.
I know. I remember we were
just having fun,
helping him out when he was a youngin'.
Yeah.
I don't even think you hit 20 yet.
He's 25.
Wow, that's it. That's good.
But
you're growing into a great man, so I just want to congratulate you on that, Blake. But anyway,
he doesn't know what to say. He just smiles.
We're supposed to do the 2-minute wrap up, right?
Well, I'm giving you got 30 seconds left.
Long story short, I got out of it. I ended up going back to school for a while, and I still had my foot in it, working for the other guy.
Okay.
Ended up leaving. I went to school. Ended up being I was a massage therapy teacher for a while. Then I ended up going back, getting anatomy, physiology, my kinesiology degree and everything. And then I went to, I was a college instructor.
Okay.
I then got burnt out there, but I learned a lot of things.
Sure.
Went into construction, was there for quite a while.
Okay.
Almost got killed a few times, and I was discouraged.
Because of Gary, Indiana?
It was the refineries and the steel mills that I was working in.
Wow. And that work is intense.
It is very intense. Blast furnaces and things like that. I mean,
I've seen like the fail videos when like some cauldron tips or whatever. I don't even know what they're called, but
it's hell on earth, really.
Seriously. Yeah.
But anyway, we'll skim past that. But there were always things where, besides laboring in those, in construction, they would end up pulling me out of the office and hey, you know what? You're going to become an estimator.
Okay.
We're going to estimate these jobs. So I think this is God's path for me, because then once I had my family started getting established, my daughter was, I think, about 2 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. I was like, no way, I'm not doing this anymore. I'll go back to lawn care. I've been hurt in lawn care, but I've never been almost killed in lawn care.
Sure.
So long story short, that's how Turf Tamer opened up. And
what year was that? 2000?
20. Turf Tamer's only been open since 2015.
Oh wow!
So it's a relatively new.
Yeah.
But when I hit the ground running, I had all that experience from before. We were profitable in our first year.
Yeah.
It was just a culmination of things. But I think that was still another stepping stone in the path of my life, because now it's brought me to this coaching.
Yeah.
And I think God has put me through all that so that I could really understand what my true calling is, because I've always enjoyed help. I mean, I used to help people constantly, but it was just eating up so much of my time.
Right.
And it was like, I could help this person, but then I'm not having enough time to help my family by completing all the work I need to get done.
Sure.
But it's crazy. Like, there's so many instances where I pull my experience and all the knowledge that I acquired, like, from each and every one of these industries that I've been in.
Right.
So it's like, now this is a huge culmination of a skill set that is extremely unique and diverse in a way, but at the same time I could focus in and be like, I know how to turn your business around.
Yeah. I
could help you build these budgets. And, also, like, on the side, I'm a Dave Ramsey certified financial coach.
Okay.
I don't really advertise that, but I help people with personal budgets, but for the green industry, I go into the challenge. It's more fun for me because it's more challenging, because there's so many more inputs and facets for these businesses. And I've helped people that are just getting started. I've helped guys that are in the mid-level.
Yep.
And there's a couple clients that I've had that are in the $3 to $4 million range that want to get to that next level.
That's awesome.
And I was surprised when they start telling me their top, we go over their numbers, and they're starting to tell me this, and I'm like, well, why are you calling me?
You sure?
And then I'm like, don't you have a team built yet to do this? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
wow.
All right, well, let's talk about that. Let's get that started.
I just get excited about this topic. I'm like, I get excited about all this because I'm like, where do you want to take the conversation? Because you would think everybody that has a $1 million plus business has these the infrastructure or the systems or the teams in place, and maybe they don't, and that's okay if you do or don't. A lot of people are just great at getting revenue in. Maybe they're just good at hiring people and building culture. Maybe they don't have all the best HR, the back end office, and all that mess to keep the machine moving.
Yeah.
Where did you first realize? Actually, before I go there, I wanted to ask you a quick question talking about the Dave Ramsey stuff. Are you a Profit First guy? Have you read it, listened to it? What do you think?
When I first read it, I was like, well, this is very familiar to me, because Dave Ramsey has the envelope system.
Yeah.
Which is really old school.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And it works. It's great.
That's like 1970s, 80s, 90s Christian teaching envelope, get out of debt stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that. We were taught that.
Right. Yep. So, I'm like, oh, this is the same concept in a way.
Uh-huh.
Just more modernized, because, with the Mike Michalowicz. Yeah, that's his name. Mike Michalowicz is the author of Profit First, and actually quite a few other
Absolutely.
books.
Yeah, Pumpkin Plan, a couple other great books.
Yeah. Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, things like that. But anyway,
I'd love to get him on the show. If anybody knows him, I think Paul might know him, but love to get him on the show. I want to hear more of his thought process on the book.
Yeah, he's a
smart guy.
He's got a lot of good concepts. And,
yeah.
But anyway, the Profit First is you're using checking accounts or bank accounts instead of envelopes, which is, I do that. I mean, just with Turf Tamer, we have like a dozen bank accounts just to categorize everything. And for those that may not be familiar with it, basically you would have like things like your operating expenses, your payroll, equipment replacement. You could customize it to how you want. Profit first.
Yeah.
That way, at a glance, let's just say, we look at our accounts and we go, oh, there's $20,000 in the bank right now.
Right.
I'm good. But then
your quarterlies are due.
Your quarterlies are due. You're filing your state sales tax.
Yep.
And you got payroll, and you got several other things. Your basic operating expenses, and all that totals out to like $21,000.
Right.
You go, what happened to all my money? It's all gone. It's
Yeah.
like when you categorize, when you start, like with us, I put it in, everything comes into one account. It's like an income account.
Sure.
And then every week it gets drained down to zero.
Sure.
And it gets filtered into the other accounts.
Yeah.
So that way at a glance, you could tell immediately, like, hey, we got, $7,000 for payroll.
Yep.
And we have, $25,000 sitting here just for equipment replacement.
There's no surprises.
There's no surprises.
Right.
And our business even has an emergency account.
Sure.
And what it's there for is to pay for insurance deductibles. So it's kind of like we have all the insurances, which will cover everything, but that still costs you money. So whether you figure it out, it's like, okay, we have like $500 deductible or $1,000 deductible, whatever it's going to be, you could go ahead and have that money in there. But here's the other thing people don't think about: don't just have an incident for like one.
Yeah.
What if if you depending on the size crew you have, if you have like 4 or 5 trucks running, you might want to have $6,000 in that account just in case some each crew
breaks something.
Worst
case scenario.
Right. Worst case scenario. Everybody breaks something in 1 week. Like they take out garage doors, which I did this past year I can't believe I did it. But anyway.
Yeah.
But something happens like that, and it's like, yeah, here's the deductibles.
I think a lot of people really woke up to that, whether they wanted to or not, with the COVID stuff. I think a lot of folks really got their business scrutinized in 2020 in the first couple of months because people were shut down. Some people could work, some people couldn't work. Some people were making money, some people weren't. Budgets were getting changed. And then with the PPP and the EIDL, some people were qualifying for things, not qualifying for things, or just in general, they couldn't apply because they didn't have their ducks in a row with the paperwork for their business, from having proper payroll reporting to, like you said, having proper tax returns, filing things correctly. And that was something that I we lucked out on in 2017, 16, 17, 18, 19, getting our ducks in a row with a lot of help of a lot of other people. A lot of people have heard, my story on my podcast. But man, I don't know if I would have been able to stomach the storm, I guess, if you will, of COVID with the loans and money coming in. I don't know where I would have been. I honestly don't know if I would have had a good enough pulse on my financials and my numbers. And we didn't get to make money just like a lot of people, and we were burning cash. And I'm talking to my friend Mike Bedell. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Like, how do we navigate? Yeah, shout out to Bedell. I'm like, how do we navigate this? And he was learning, and he's like, hey, I got a couple things going on, this, and we're just all kind of learning together and learning from other successful folks. Well, that's good. I just wanted to touch base on the profit first stuff, because a lot of folks are really adopting that. And as a Dave Ramsey coach and whatnot that you are, there's a lot of great things that you can learn from those teachings and the books. So I always encourage people to figure it out. See what makes sense for you.
It really shows its true colors about being debt free during a challenging time like that.
Yeah,
because we're debt free.
Yep.
We don't. I operated basically both companies operate on there's a very specific business plan for that and how we operate.
Yeah.
When I first started Turf Tamer, we literally were just prepay only, because so many times we would get burned when I was working for the other companies.
Right. Collecting
on collections.
Yeah.
So at first it was prepay only. So if they had monthly maintenance, they'd have to pay the full month up front, and then they would get billed every then. But then I think it was 2017 or 2018, I finally started migrating to card on file.
Yeah.
And we would charge daily.
Yep. Okay.
So every single day to keep, it's great because
for the work you produce.
For the work we produced.
Okay.
We're billing out, so it's like, okay, we did 15 accounts or treatments, treatments, we could do like 20 something a day.
Yeah.
But we would, as soon as they were done, charge the card. If there was any issue,
you would know. We
would know exactly when it happened.
Yeah, not 6 weeks later.
Right. So, especially for guys that are doing like weekly maintenance, like say a mowing company would, you don't want to give them that whole month. You can. It's traditional, but it's a really old way of doing things now, because you can't go somewhere and I can't go buy fuel, or I can't go to the grocery store and say, hey, put it on my tab, Bobby.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about? Pay.
Yeah.
Give me money. You want this? Give me money.
I joke on some of our shows, the only people that extend as much credit as we do is pizza shops. Because I don't know anyone else, like you were just joking, but like maybe like your dealer, if you get like a parts order and you have a line of credit, but you know what I'm saying? Like very, very, I could probably think of less than 6 or 7 businesses off the top of my mind where I can get a line of credit these days. Not that we can't get the line of credit, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get it.
But you order more than $50 in pizza and they want a card on file.
Right.
For not a deposit, but just to have it on, the slip in case you don't show. And so why are we extending ourselves 1, 2, 3, 400 or $10,000 on a landscape job? Get your 3 different draws. Get 2/3 of your money done when the project's done. That way you're not waiting on 50-80% of your money.
Right.
Praying that the guy with the Audi in his driveway is like actually home and wants to cut you the check for $7,000.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
When it comes to like installs, maintenance, and everything like that, I feel like you should only be trying to get like the last 10% in that last draw.
Yeah.
Because
your punch out,
when it comes to that, you have a lot of product and supply built into it. It's like that deposit should pay for that.
Yeah.
And then that next draw when the guys show up. I mean, I know there's some people I know that they do a 5-draw system.
Sure.
Where it's like, hey, here's our deposit, and that's basically going to cover the supplies.
Sure.
Their second draw, it's going to cover, like as soon as they show up on site, it's like this draw is due now.
Yep.
Our guys will start working.
And you control that conversation. It's your company. Like there's and you're like, well, I can't do that with my corporate accounts. And I'm like,
sure you can.
I'm like, that's totally true. Like when we do our mulch in the spring, we bill 50% of the mulch cost in usually March because we're putting it down in April. Because I'm not fronting $3,500. You're crazy. For any customer. And I don't care if you have $1 million in the bank or $3,500 in the bank or nothing in the bank. That mulch job goes 50% on the previous month's invoice, and then the end of month April invoice, it's the other 50% balance. And we do. I'm a 50-50 guy with most of our landscaping because I don't know. That's just what I do.
It depends on what you're doing. If it's mulch, not to say it's simple, but it's really like one product you're grabbing.
Yes.
So it's not multifaceted.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And like you said, it's your business. You set the terms.
Yes.
It's not a negotiation at that point. If they want your services, you lay the groundwork.
I guess the only way you could possibly do it wrong, and this might sound kind of weird, but is if you're getting all of it at the end.
If you're getting all of it at the end, I mean, you must be dealing with God or Jesus, because it's
trusting people in this world today.
God is Jesus and Jesus is God.
There you go. Well, let's go to we got about 4 or 5 minutes here. Talk to me about the financial coaching, because it seems like a lot of folks that are here, we're doing one thing during the day and something else at night. A lot of people here at the Hype House are very passionate. They got YouTube channels or content, and what's the ulterior motive? Helping people. And I know, like, you hear that today, you're like, yeah, but, or what's the angle? And I get it, because I'm a skeptic by nature. But a lot of folks here, they're here for everybody that's here, they're here for the right reasons. They're others focused. They're trying to help people. They're trying to grow. And so the question that you were going down the rabbit hole before I interrupted you about Dave Ramsey and the different ways of using profit first was 2-part question. One, give us a couple minute update on the financial coaching, but before that, my question is, when did you first realize that you were passionate about helping people with their numbers?
Hello, it's Mr. Producer, and you may have come across Brian's podcast as you have decided to cut that grass and make that cash. Well, we have an entire website devoted to helping you do just that. It's called LawEntrepreneurAcademy.com, and there's a link for you in the show description. For all of you rookies, let me suggest the How to Get New Customers training program. With this, you'll discover effective marketing strategies and tips to get the phone to ring so that you have an opportunity to earn new customers and ultimately grow your business. Now, there are 6 modules that are designed to help you market your business effectively, grow your business, and gain new customers, and it's loaded with practical tips and strategies. Best of all, it is super affordable at $49 even. And if the whole world of lawn care is new to you while you're on the Law Entrepreneur Academy site, consider picking up the How to Start Your Own Lawn Care Business training program. We really do want to help you crush it in 22, and your journey to success starts at LawEntrepreneurAcademy.com.
I was in a couple different Facebook groups, and I used to go online all the time.
Yeah.
I do Whiteboard Wednesdays, and I would break down just about anything. And I think almost all of the people here knew me before in some way through Facebook.
Yeah.
And probably through those groups, because I would just go on and it was like, all right, I'm having this problem. I know other people are having it.
Yeah.
Let's discuss it.
Sure.
And I would go through all the whiteboards. I'd tell them like, hey, this is how we do this. This is how you could break it down to match your thing. So after a while of doing that, and attending like the, GIE and things like that, people just calling me out of the blue. And it's funny, like most of the YouTubers that are around, they have either used me in the past or, we've had relationships to where it's just like, hey man, how do you do this? And I'm like, you're the guy on YouTube, man. I thought you were the guy that had the answer. And then it turns out it's like,
he helped you quote one of the big ones. Here, we gotta see if you can swing that over there. And I think you guys got to go around the table. We'll get B&B here on the show. He's just kind of hanging out. We're about to go do some lunch, but let's see. Let's do a little mic check. Are you on 2?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. So what were you saying?
Yeah, like a long time ago, I was.
Well, introduce yourself real quick.
All right, Blake Albertson with B&B Lawn Care. Yeah, John helped me. I don't know how many years ago, man. Like 6 years ago or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, something like 2016.
That was like a little Blake. It was like Blake.
It was a big. It was just a complex property. It was a JCPenney's standalone store.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, those stores are huge.
You get it wrong by, one number.
I was just there was a ton of edging. You had to edge the street, the sidewalks, and then trim around the beds.
And then you had all those islands.
Lined, the whole property was just islands and mulch. It wasn't a ton of grass.
Right.
But it was just so long, and there was just so much trimming. So he helped me quote it. I got the property. We did it for a couple of years, and then literally nothing with me or them. It was just like the higher ups cutting down maintenance costs on the outside of the properties.
Sure.
And now it's like a foot tall.
Dilapidated.
I used to get a text and they're like, hey, tomorrow, like the big wigs are coming. Can you make sure everything's cool? I'd go pick up the trash for free, by the way, like just to keep the property. I'd go pull weeds on all the beds, and it was a ton of work.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I go take like Instagram stories and there's weeds overtaking the beds. It's just, I'm like,
I know what you're talking about.
all that work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
what a shame too.
It is a shame because it's like you put all that heart and soul into it to make sure that you're bringing excellent value to your client.
Yeah.
You're fulfilling you're actually going above and beyond to fulfill your contract, and then they're like, yeah, we don't value you at all.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like somebody in an office in states and states away,
4
they're
states
like,
away.
you know what? Let's check off all exterior maintenance. Let's not do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
We can do the mulch every other year or every third year.
Yeah.
And I've gotten that. And I'll tell you what, when you guys get that, make sure you push back on it because, just logically speaking, like I had a account and they're like, hey, well, we're going to do the mulch every other year. And I'm like, they're like, we'll just turn it. We'll just turn it the other year. And I'm like,
Sweet, it'll be double the price.
Yeah, right. Well, I was like, yeah, it's not going to look like it's not going to be what it was for an HOA, and I said it's not going to be what the HOA or the people in the HOA are going to expect. I said their dues. Are you going to drop their dues down? And like, well, no. And I'm like, okay, are you going to give them a credit or put that money towards something else? Like, we don't know. I'm like, right. So you're going to PO 200 homeowners, 500 people in this thing, with the families. Because you wanted to save, $2,000. And I said, you guys do whatever you want, but I don't think the standard of this place is going to be reflective of what the people in here are paying for their dues. It's not going to work like that. And she goes, yeah, you think so? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, okay, go ahead and do it. And I'm really glad that we added it back in because if we did this every other year thing, we've had the place now 6-7 years. It's only $2,000, but that's that little upsell, right? Over time, you don't think about it, but we're all going to be probably doing this for a minute. I've probably made $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 extra dollars in revenue by just holding my ground and saying, don't do that. Like it's not going to look nice, and your people aren't going to be happy. I don't want to put my name on that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just be honest. Like sometimes, just like you're saying, we have to remind people in the office, space that things sound great in a meeting or on
They look
paper,
good on paper,
but not out in the physical world.
Yeah. Hey, for example, think out loud. Like, have you guys ever went to like a strip mall and you're going to go get a Subway sandwich and you're driving through it and there's nothing but potholes all over. The curbs are crushed, from semi trucks rolling all over them. Like you said, the weedy grass is in the beds and it just looks unkempt. And I'm thinking, well, if this outside parking lot is dirty, automatically by default, what do I think about that Subway? It's dirty.
Right.
And do I want to go in there get a sandwich? Nope. But I know the other strip mall down the road, the Jimmy John's, they got a clean parking lot, fresh asphalt, fresh paint lines. All the trash is picked up. I see somebody out there weeding every week or two. I'm going to go get my sandwich over there. And so it's image. It's always image.
And the biggest thing at those properties is like the grass and the weeds growing up in between the parking lot and the curb.
Yeah, knock it down, spray it down.
It costs like no money to just make sure that thing's sprayed.
Yeah.
And upsell that to people because I judge, just like you said, all the establishments by, is there weeds growing in the parking lot?
Yep.
But it used to be cheaper with glyphosate. Now glyphosate has almost doubled in price. So it's not as cheap as it used to be. But anyhow, you got to recover those costs.
I'll give you one more quick, for instance. I talked about this sometimes to people, is you look at Disneyland, Disney World, wherever you go, and Disney, there's literally people walking around with a little sweeper, the little pail, and they're cleaning up all the trash on the ground. But if you ever look around, there's no gum on any of the walkways. They literally have all of them on their pocket. They have like little freeze air cannons, and they freeze if there's any gum on the ground, they'll freeze the gum on the ground, and they'll chip it away, and they'll sweep it up. There's no gum on any of the places anywhere.
Do you know another reason why there's not a lot of trash there?
Why?
Well, Walt Disney knew how important this was, how important the image of a clean park was in the guest experience.
Sure.
Right? If there's trash tumbling all around, it's not a great guest experience.
Right.
So he did tests on people and said, how far will they walk for the next trash can?
Sure.
And I think he came up with something like 15 feet.
Sure.
So at Disney World, there's a trash can every 15 feet to mitigate people littering,
Makes
basically.
Sense. Wow. I didn't know that. That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So where's the next trash can at the next strip mall that you're doing? Is there even one out there?
You're lucky if you find one.
And it's 3 days overfilled.
Yep.
With a bunch of trash on top, and nobody cares. And there's nice gas stations like we have Speedways back at home. Mm-hmm. Those people are on it, man. I love my Speedways. Like,
who's my Quick Trip people on here?
I think there's a small group of Quick Trip people. No, but we were joking on your podcast. I'm like, what's a Quick Trip? It's like this unicorn gas station or whatever that you can tell me about.
But that's what they do. They power wash every day. The parking lots. Everything.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where are you going to go get gas? This crazy corner hole in the wall, like independent little place that has like lights out and all this and lights flickering. If I see a flickering light, I ain't going there, dude. I don't care who you are, what you're doing. But yeah, it really is important, and it goes all full circle to your equipment. Your guys having clean clothes, washing the mowers once a week or more, having your trail. You go down a dirt road on Monday. Don't spray that thing off on Friday, Saturday. Like, hey. Do the hard thing and go wash it. Go spend $4 at the coin wash. Spray it down after you do your dirt road customers on Monday.
Yeah, that does bring it like full circle. Because people are like, well, I don't have a nice truck. That's not what we're talking about.
Not at all.
We're talking about is the equipment organized?
Yeah.
Or are you just showing up and it just looks like a big pile of tools?
Sure.
Is the muffler torn off of it, and is it blowing smoke because it's got a bad valve in it or something?
And I don't care if you have like a cool lifted truck, this monster truck looking thing. That's fine too. And you get the Hunter stickers and all the different real tree stuff on it. That's fine. Just keep it. If you go mud bogging on Friday, Saturday, Sunday with your boys, that's fine. Just wash it Sunday night before you go take it to your mow route on Monday. Nobody cares if you have a huge giant lifted truck. You're a landscaper. You get an automatic pass. But if you're out there dipping, out of that truck or smoking or, ripping darts while you guys are walking around the property, that's not going to work. Like I had a guy that literally, he was dipping and I said, I don't care if you dip, just dip in the truck. Don't dip on the property because you spit on the lawn. And I'm like, nobody wants to see that. 40-year-old Carol inside the house, the mom of two, doesn't want to see you dipping on the backyard where she's going to go in 4 hours playing in the backyard with her kids.
Barefoot.
Barefoot. I'm like that. I don't care who you are. That's not going to work.
Yeah, like I used to keep my.
We're on a major side tangent. We'll get back to the financial coaching.
I know. I used John Pajak financial planning.
We got minus 3 minutes now to get to lunch, but that's anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I used to store my backpack blowers in the back of the truck bed, and all the like guys that have been in it for long, they're like, get backpack blower racks, and I'm like, dude, but why would I spend the money when I have a truck bed here?
Sure,
it's all about image, organization. It makes you look.
It keeps the equipment from breaking down a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Were we on the patio and we saw that rig go by yesterday, or was that you or some? I was somebody that wasn't you. I don't
think so.
I was out. Maybe it was Jeremiah. We were out on the balcony, and this really nice utility trailer goes by, and they got the 2 blower racks, the 3-position trimmer racks. We were trying to see if they were like Equipment Defender or Green Touch. It looked like some other brand, and but it was all stacked up. The 2 2 edges on the bottom, the 2 line trimmers on top, the 2 mowers. A standard rig, and it's like your business card. I'm like, that looks like a professional setup, versus having it all laying around and getting trashed around like John was just saying.
And nobody's like, is that a 2021 X mark up there, or is that a 2016? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Is it clean? Is it organized? Do you look professional?
That's right. Well, let's go back. So that was talking about John helping you with bidding some stuff, which is always great.
We love tangents over here.
I was like, whoa, that just fell right off the cliff. I was on a path, but it's okay, man.
Well, and a lot of folks like try to DM, all of us, and I've done it with some of you guys, I'm sure. Like, hey, what would you do for this property? And I try not to do that just because there's so many variables.
Exactly.
I'm not that good. Like, I'm a very see it in person kind of guy, unless it's like my bread and butter in my subdivisions, and I can like boom, I can start banging them out. But
going back to like when I was helping with that, I could only see aerial views because I was using.
Did he FaceTime you or something?
No, but I'm just like, hey man, tell me about this property. Like, how high are those curbs? How many? Just the boots on the ground type info.
Yeah,
and you have to have an eye for it too. But at the same time, when I was helping Blake with that, there are other people too. It's like, I could see that this looks like, 20,000 square feet from above. I know what that looks like, but is there a slope to it?
Sure.
Oh yeah, there's a slope. I'm like, how steep is that slope?
Sure.
That's
giving me nostalgia.
That's a whole different.
Taking a full circle. Now you got the hype house with the man over here.
I know, it's insane.
And since then you lost the account.
And the beauty about that though is,
John, you helped me get it to lose it. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, I didn't even know he had it until after he lost it. I just found out today.
That's
and I'm
so
like,
funny.
Dude, that was like 5 years ago. Like, how come you didn't even tell me you got the thing?
I guess now I know who's paying for your
Yeah,
lunch today. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, Blake gets 15 G's a year off this thing, and didn't even send a gift card.
But just the message to people out there, though. I said earlier that I was, I felt that God put me on this path.
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't have been able to help Blake unless I had that experience in the office with the construction companies.
Sure.
Because it's funny. It's not like you go to one construction company and then you get branded this way out forever.
right.
I went to I was in the 2 companies that I primarily worked for.
Yeah.
Both did something different with me. One put me in like the timekeeper slot, and then the other one saw something in me and made me an estimator.
Okay.
So it's like
Getting your feet wet in both.
When you're doing the timekeeper thing, you really start understanding how man hours work.
Yeah.
With estimating, you understand, okay, what's the production rates? What is the man-hour rates? What kind of equipment you're going to need? What kind of supplies you're going to need? So if I wouldn't have learned all that, Blake would never have even gotten JCPenney, in my opinion. Now.
Right. Yep.
Because now that I think about it, it's
or I would have, and I would have charged $60, and I would have just been kicking myself forever.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't even think you could have gotten to you would have been able to roll up, but I mean, if you opened the trailer, I think you would have lost money immediately if you would have charged.
Wow. Isn't that crazy though? But that's just the power of what we're doing. That's that's like a full circle plug to the Green Industry Hype House, and thanks to Entrepreneur Academy and the Hardscape Academy, which if you guys need contracts or resources and all that mess, like this is how it all goes full circle for a lot of us creating content. We're trying to help you guys grow. The content is helping. You guys are buying courses which allow us to do fun stuff like this, to get fun, testimonies and share the best content that we can to help you guys grow. And it's a really, really cool thing.
I think the biggest thing that you said the other day, we went and checked out Postcard Mania.
Yeah.
And I was like asking you prices, like how much is like design and stuff? And you're like, dude, it took me like 10 hours to design one of these.
Yes.
And however much money, and I'm, it's $50 or $75 or whatever.
Yeah.
I saved people 10 hours, and what it would physically cost them is like half the price or whatever. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
You're saving 10 hours and it's a proven design.
Yes.
What else do you want?
Well, that's I'm like, we're saving hundreds of hours out there. Like, why reinvent the wheel? Like, I'm brokering these deals on my time to like save people money, and I just think it's awesome. I mean, people are reciprocating. They're like, yeah, $75 for a design instead of $150, and then you don't have to waste 10 hours of your time. Sounds like a good deal to me. And not only that, you get to help somebody who's putting out content on YouTube for free, and you can like, it's like a tip. It's like, it's like Patreon. You're just like, hey, I got to get this anyway, and you get it from somebody you like. So we appreciate it. I don't know. I'm having a fun time. I'm having a blast. Some people, like the very small vocal minority, you don't want to critique it, and that's totally fine too. But the vast majority of folks are like, dude, I'm happy to support. This is freaking awesome. Yeah, I get guys all the time buying a snow contract for $99, and I get 4 or 5 days later, 2 weeks later, just got a $40,000 snow account, like at this HOA or this apartment complex, and they're like, dude, like $40,000. They're gonna clean up half of it on that, profit, and I'm like. You still got to go do the work, but how do you go hire a corporate attorney to get a snow contract made up? Like, where do you start? And most contract attorneys aren't going to be, they're not going to pull from their repertoire of snow contracts. I'm just going to tell you, they're here to litigate and to look at different things, and they're going to charge you $350 to $1,000 an hour to look through stuff. And this is, as good as we can get. I think it's going to be, we're always making improvements, but it's going full circle.
Here's a great thing, a great mentality to have. You have that snow contract ready.
Yeah.
Then you could take it to your attorney.
Yes.
And say, this is what I have.
Yes.
Is this going to work where I live?
Which is what we encourage you to do.
Because then you're going to be like, I have a solid base, and now we're just going to refine it.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're going to save money.
You're saving
either
money,
way.
and not only that, instead of having your lawyer drafted and everything, it's just going to be so much simpler.
Yeah.
You could be like in and out in an hour.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be there. He just drops it off, or you drop it off, and then they go talk to you about it over Zoom. Hell, you don't even have to do that.
Yeah,
send them the file.
Yes,
I'm still old school when I'm thinking like this. You just send them the file, and then they do what they do.
There's one of my attorneys I talked to. Just his retainer is $5,000 to start working on a project because he doesn't know how long it's going to take. Another one bills me per hour. It's $325 an hour. My copyright patent attorney. And I'm like, so when I asked him a question, he's like, I got to do some research. Let me get back to you. I go, how much? He goes, I'll just bill you at the hourly rate. And dude, like, it's an open-ended. I'm like, all right, dude, like, hopefully it takes 2 hours, not 22 hours, Right. And it's $3.25. I did a consult with him, and it was 30 minutes for free. And we ended up talking an hour. He goes, all right, well, I'll be sending you an invoice to what's in, give me all your info. And I'm like, and I was really glad to pay it because it was super good stuff.
Oh, it all makes sense now because you always say that when I talk to you on the phone.
First 30 minutes is free, right?
So how do I retro bill this to you guys? Like,
you still need to get your 3% from Blake, your commission. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're all like nickel and diamond.
Nickel and diamond, like, no, but going back to the
I got to interrupt. Everybody listening in, y'all are the ones that are making this a meme too, because you all go to Walmart and ask for Brian Sent at checkout, and the store manager's like, they're like, I don't know what the heck that is, and you guys are like, oh, it's an active coupon, and they're like, where? And you're like, oh, it's a website promotion, like totally unrelated, and the manager's like, all right, man, well, I haven't seen this one, but I'll give it to you. And I'm like, guys, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't.
Or you go to Culver's and you get like a free ice cream. Brian's 10. It's a free. I'm like, guys, stop it. Like it's for lawn care.
Yeah.
Okay, give us the 2-3 minutes because we got to get running here. We'll get some food, but give me the 2-3 minutes for everything we got going on for John Pajak coaching and what you're most excited about right now.
So, well, John, right now, budgets, break-evens, and bottom lines workshop is going very well. I've been able to successfully, over the past, in 2021, we've had about 16 success stories of, there's still a lot of people that are working on things. They're not where they want to be just yet, but they're moving in the right direction. But there's about 16 guys that in November, right before Thanksgiving, we had this little update thing.
Yeah.
And they've turned their businesses around.
That's awesome.
Because they hit walls and they were really in a bad position when they got a hold of me.
Okay.
And now they're on the right path and they're profitable and they're paying themselves. So, quick tip, pay yourself no matter what. I don't care if you're making, you do $10 job, just whatever that might be. I don't know.
Yep.
But you pay yourself to do that job.
I like it. Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say you're making a big splash out there.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are. I hear it. I get all the time DMs. I'm on a coaching call and they're like, yeah, well, sometimes it goes like this. We talk for an hour and they go, man, like, I love the call. It was a great time. Appreciate the help. And they go, yeah, I just did one of these about a month ago with Keith, 2 months ago with Caleb, 3 months ago with John. You guys are awesome. And I'm like, dude, you've been talking, and you don't have to do a coaching call.
It's like we don't. I
didn't know.
I didn't know that some people are talking to
other people.
And
I'm like, well, hopefully I didn't mess you up, is what I was joking. I'm just having fun. I'm like, hopefully I didn't mess you up. Like, no, dude, like, this is awesome. You said the exact same stuff John said. John was like more about numbers or this, or Caleb was more about operations and that. And it's just, it really warms my heart to hear like good feedback coming from other folks that have used your services and your help and your guidance.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And I know you're just getting started with it.
Yeah. My weakness is I've been the guy behind the scenes for like a decade now.
Yeah.
Where everybody else finds me and I do a poor job of getting myself out there. I'm like that nightclub that like nobody, doesn't have a sign out front.
Sure.
But like everybody's like, hey, that's a cool place to go, man.
That down the alley.
Down the alley.
Door.
It's like you got to knock 3 times and then kick the door.
It's like
something.
a speakeasy or something.
It's
right?
like a speakeasy.
That's the best explanation I've ever heard.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm like, I am dumb because I'm a smart guy, but I'm dumb because I don't let other people know how to get to me easily.
Yeah.
It's always, that's why I am extremely appreciative of everybody that has a social media account that always refers to me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm eternally grateful for that because now I'm finally poking my head out of the.
Yeah.
I'm the groundhog, that's going to see a shadow soon.
He's like,
we got a yard sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's like, we got a cool nightclub. He's in there with the little finger glow sticks, like.
No, I mean,
there's a paycheck party. Come on over. We'll talk numbers.
I was thinking more, the old school stuff, but that's cool.
I like this. I like the speakeasy.
The speakeasy.
Got the numbers
times.
speakeasy.
Hey, I grew up near Chicago, so we had that.
There's one in downtown Louisville.
It's amazing.
Evan took us to that one. You were there with that.
Yeah.
I had never been to anything like that.
But anyway, we got to get going.
Where can people find you?
Well, hey, don't forget.
Let's see if there's an update.
There are several updates. So with even on your Entrepreneur Academy, there's coaching calls.
Yes.
That people can access through your system there.
We have a great 4-way coaching call with me, you, who else is it? Almond,
Caleb,
and Paul. So the 4 of us, you can get a discounted coaching call. So because I've noticed a lot of people are calling us, all 4 of us, and I just told all you guys, I'm like, hey, can we broker something, give everybody a price break and a discount? Because it seems like everybody's calling all 4 of us anyway, going through the mill. And so, gosh, I mean, you talk numbers with John, and anybody can talk about anything,
right? They can.
But if you want to talk marketing with this guy and business with that guy and whatever else. I think it's a sweet opportunity.
Exactly. It's not. Don't get confused. It's not like a group call where all 5 of us would be on at once. These could be broken down.
They're 4 1-hour calls.
4 1-hour calls to where if you wanted to ask me something,
yes,
it's totally. That's what we're going to focus on. You could focus on whatever you want with the other guys, and there's no pressure of, oh my God, I'm afraid to ask this question in front of 4 other people. No, it's a one-on-one situation, and like you said, it is a savings because when you start looking at how much each of us charge for 1-hour coaching calls, it's a great value.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get the whole ball of wax, then you buy that as well. For example, from the Entrepreneur Academy, gosh, man, you're getting a level 10 education your first 90 days in business with all those resources. I'm just thinking out loud, that's actually pretty dope.
And the wonderful thing is you still have that information because it's going to be like drinking out of a fire hose at first.
Yep.
But you don't have to take everything in all at once. You can go back to it and rewatch things, re-listen to things, have the downloads.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
Outside of Entrepreneur Academy, where else can they find you? Facebook, Instagram?
Facebook is John Pajak Financial Coaching.
Okay.
Instagram is just John Pajak.
I think it's John.Pajak.
John.Pajak, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Yep.
Thank you. You know me, my Instagram better than I do.
I want you guys to get followed, man. I'm telling you, like, you guys are good people. If not, I would just be like, yeah, go follow the guy. I don't care.
And then there's, online, John Pajak, financialcoaching.com.
Okay.
Also, you could find Paul Jameson is hosting the Budgets, Break-Evens, and Bottom Lines workshop. You could access that through the greenindustrypodcast.com.
Awesome.
And the latest and greatest thing, it's not another website. This is going to be available for the greenindustrypodcast.com. Paul and I are releasing the technical guide to operating a successful lawn care business.
Sweet.
It is going to be a really great program. It's geared for not only for guys that are just starting out, but for guys that have been doing this for years and then are just moving up the scale. This program, we're trying to provide enough value and answer a lot of the common issues that you have as you're starting to scale your business.
Okay.
So it literally goes from we're starting out. So the guys that have been in this for a while, don't tune out, okay?
Yeah.
You got to go through that. Maybe you might find something you skipped. But then we're going all the way up until I've been in business for 8 years. I'm still not getting enough traction. What's wrong?
Okay. Cool.
And we're going to solve,
solve those too.
We're going to help solve those problems or maybe give you some insight that you may not have seen so that you get to achieve your goals.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look forward to that. You guys were talking about that the other night at dinner. That's going to come out here in the next 4 to 8 weeks, depending on when this episode comes out. But spring 2022.
Yeah, we're actually
filming it,
recording it after while we're in Tampa.
Yeah.
So we're locking ourselves in a hotel room and putting the production in.
Yeah.
And hopefully he doesn't get me sick, but that's okay. Paul's feeling a little under the weather, and we prayers to Paul for
there you go
for his health and recovery real quick.
Amen to that. All right, man. Well, John.Pajak on Instagram, and this is the man, the myth, the legend. Super excited about having you on the show. No, for real. Thank you for joining us. And there's a lot of folks out here, that are listening in, man. They're trying to grow. They're hungry for it. I'm hungry for it. I every time I get around you, I'm like, John, what's new? What's exciting? Like, I enjoy getting to hear what you're thinking about, how you're thinking. And also it's really cool just to see your social media grow because you're still one of the best kept secrets out there. And I mean that sincerely. We'll button up right here. Any last minute words with you? But if not, we'll also tag up with B&B.
Yeah. The last thing I just want to say is just know your numbers, get your budgets together, and remind yourself that these are not static articles. They are not just you do them once and they're done. They're a living, breathing thing.
Sure.
So to stay on top of it, keep tabs on it, know your costs, and change as needed. Don't be afraid to have to make changes mid-season.
Sure.
So other than that, just keep pushing through.
Yeah.
And I'm good.
Don't be embarrassed by your numbers, good or bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd be embarrassed if they're good, but Liz and I, when we hired a bookkeeper, it was one of the most awkward, tough things for us to do. And me telling Liz, these people need to see what we're doing. And she's like, well, they're going to see our money. And I'm like, right. Mm-hmm. And she goes, well, we don't have any. And I go, they're going to see that we're broke. This is 5 years ago. And I said, right. I said, we weren't like zero, but I said, like,
I get you.
I was like, what are we going to do? Masquerade, parade around? Like, we got this thing licked. I'm like, we need help. That's why we need help. And she goes, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. I go, well, not like we were trying it your way, but we've been doing it our way for, 10 years, 12, 15 years. I'm like, haven't really made progress. Let's get some other people involved and try it a different way for 10, 12, 15 years, and then we'll reevaluate. So I'll let you guys know how I hired a bookkeeper, a quality CPA, and some good payroll folks, and having very smart people around Liz and I has been working in 2048, and then I'll reevaluate, right? So, or whatever that year is, or 2038. So, but you guys know what I'm saying. Like, get people on your team. Learn these things. Give a call if you're embarrassed that, or you're doubting, or you're unsure, or whatever. Look, get rid of that junk. It's just holding you back. It's fear. Is false evidence is appearing real. Pick up the phone, call somebody, and just level. Hey, I'm an idiot. What do I do? Mm-hmm. You know how many times I've said that and leveled with a professional, and they're like, hey, man, no big deal. We've seen this 100 times before. I got you. That's what those professionals are there to do, is to hold you by the hand and take you to the next level. They're your Sherpa, climbing the mountain. It's okay. And you know what? John is probably the least intimidating dude you will ever call and reach out to. You know what I'm saying? It goes full circle to the teddy bear hugs when you meet him for the first time. Okay, so I think you'll be in good hands if you're giving John a shout. John, appreciate you big time.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. B&B, we'll just button up real quick, man. Any final thoughts or contributions? If not, we'll button up. But you're over here living the dream, man. Just hanging out. You look chill.
Yeah, no big, huge news. Just B&B Lawn Care on YouTube, at BB Lawn Care KC, TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah.
The B&B Lawn Care podcast.
Awesome, man. Cool.
Enjoying the time, learning, man. Staying positive.
Excellent.
Cool. Appreciate you, brother. All right, man. Well, guys, we'll button up right here. Again, shout out to Launchpreneur Academy and the Hardscape Academy here at the 2022 Green Industry Hype House down here in beautiful Siesta Key, Florida. If you guys want to check out those resources, maybe you've never been to the website, is what I always say. Go snoop around. Go to launchpreneuracademy.com, see what they have to offer. Go to hardscapeacademy.com, see what Caleb and Brittany have to offer. Everybody's got money back guarantees. We stand behind what we're doing, and we just want to help you guys grow. So I think a lot of you guys know that. And by the way, a lot of you guys are supporting, and we really do appreciate that. All right, we're excited to see you guys grow. Thanks for helping our small businesses grow. We're here to take care of our families, just like you guys are, and we really appreciate that. What does Caleb, not Caleb, but Paul always say? When the water goes up, the boats go up. Right? So
the tide raises all boats.
That's something like that. So we'll leave the great transitions and analogies to our friend Paul. But all right, guys, we're over now. I think we're going to go try to enjoy a little bit of the sun and beautiful Florida weather here. So, guys, that's it for this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. We look forward to catching up with all of you guys here on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.